What's happening, people? Welcome back to the Spurs Chat Podcast. It's Harry Scarfe here. Thank you, firstly, to Chris Cowlin for this opportunity once again. Looking forward to cracking into it because it is Ipswich this weekend for Spurs. But if you're interested in what I do, I'm a football content creator and YouTuber. My own socials are there at Harry Scarfe 22, regular here. And I do have my own YouTube channel and podcast, Scarfe Spurs Talk. So thank you to all the Spurs fans and Ipswich fans, football fans, you name it, for tuning in this week. I'll kick it off with some stats, head-to-head stats, and also in both teams individually in the season so far, because the league position, Ipswich sits inside the relegation zone in 18th. We sit in 12th place, Ipswich with 17 points, and Tottenham with 30. Goals scored, we scored 49 compared to Ipswich's 23. Form guide over the last 5, Ipswich lost them out. Impressive 1-1 draw at Villa Park with 10 men as well. That saw Twanzebe dismissed. Second yellow card, he'll be unavailable for this game, but Ipswich fought hard and done well to get the point. 4-1 win against Coventry in the FA Cup, against Frank Lampard's Coventry as well, who were in form. So I think that result was a little bit unexpected, despite Coventry being in the Championship. 2-1 defeat at home to Southampton. That was a moment where a lot of people questioned how they come back from that. They've responded strongly. 4-1 defeat, the customary against Liverpool at Anfield, and the 6-0 battering at home against Man City. Whereas for Spurs, last them out 1-0 win at home against Man United. It's a big one. 2-1 loss against Aston Villa. Exiting the FA Cup. Talking about exiting, also exited the League Cup. As we know, we left 2 trophies in 4 days and lost 4-0. So talk about customary battering at Anfield. Both teams have experienced that recently. 2-0 win against Brentford in the Premier League, a rare away win and a clean sheet 2 and a 3-0 win at home against Elfsborg to qualify for the round of 16 in the Europa League. Previous meetings between the two sides, both teams have faced each other 52 times. Ipswich have won 21, Spurs narrowly coming out on top, having won 23. 8 of them have been draws, so I think that's interesting. It's tight. Previous 3 meetings between the side, we know how the one went earlier this season, ended 2-1 Ipswich, although back at the start of November. You have to go back to the game before that, second to last, all the way back to the August 2020 in a club-friendly game where we won 3-0 at home. And then apart from this season, the last time we played them in the Premier League was all the way back in 11th of January 2002, where Ipswich won 2-1. Ipswich have won their last 4 Premier League games against Tottenham. That's worrying stuff. They've won 5 consecutive top-flight meetings with an opponent versus Norwich between 1984 and 1993. We've won just one of our last 6 away league games against Ipswich at Portman Road, drawing 2 and losing 3. Our last victory was a 3-1 victory all the way back in August 1994 under Aussie Idealist. But key context of people who don't know, Ipswich have spent a lot of time recently away from the Premier League. Tottenham lost the reverse fixtures, we know, against Ipswich earlier this season back in November. The only promoted side to complete the Premier League double ever over Spurs are Birmingham City in the 2007 and 2008 season and Wolves in the 2009-2010 season. So, wow, that's interesting. Ipswich are chasing their first double of the season. We don't want to let that happen. No side has won fewer games or scored fewer goals at home in the Premier League this season than Ipswich Town. Since beating Chelsea in December, they've lost the last 3 at Portman Road by an aggregate score of 10-1. So that's not good reading if you are a Town fan. Last few stats, goals conceded. Ipswich conceded 50 this year. We've conceded 37. Shots, we've taken 263 this season compared to Ipswich's 162. 136 shots on target for Spurs in comparison to Ipswich's 84. Shots off target, 127 for Spurs, 78 for Ipswich. So we shoot a lot more. It's a general theme. 105 blocks compared to Ipswich's 65. So we've had to do more defending. Passing accuracy, we'd lead the way, 85.6% to Ipswich's 80.5%. Still both good. Points gained from losing positions is a good reading for Ange Postecoglou because Ipswich have only gained 3 points this season from losing positions. Having said that, we've only gained 10. It's not bad. Points gained from a winning position, though. Goodness me, listen to this. Ipswich have dropped 19 points from winning positions this season, and we've dropped 21. And that's Tottenham, so not good reading for McKenna or Postecoglou. So yeah, there's a few stats between the two sides. But Ipswich they've been good this season, and it feels like Luton Town last season. They might be unlucky in terms of they played well, should have more points on the board, but maybe just about go. It'd be nice to see them stay up. They, of course, there's problems with Delap Hutchinson. There's no doubt about it. My team would be the Coro in goal. I bring a doggy back into that back line and give Porro a much needed rest. Plus, I think Porro I've got worries about him at the moment defensively in Ipswich away from home. Portman Road, tough game. Get towards the latter stages of the season. Ipswich need the points. They need the wins. And better place to do it in front of the home crowd. We need to have players that are switched on defensively. So Doggy for me comes back in at left back. Spence has to stay in that team. So I'd keep him at right back. I meant to say my bad for not saying it. Andrew Postecoglou in his press conference today said there's no new injury concerns and he hopes to have Romero and Van der Ven back for the first leg of that round of 16 tie in, I think, just a couple of weeks' time against AZ Alkmaar. So positive stuff, but he wants to be careful with them. But yeah, no new injury concerns. Davis and Danso in the defence for me, just really solid. It's what we need against Ipswich. Midfield, I think you can make a case for anyone in here. He's really 50-50 and just got a few options now at his disposal finally, which is good. It's what he wants. I've gone with Basuma, defensive head. Gray, I want to see in that midfield. And Maddison, you have to keep in that team against the performance against Man United, but you could put a case for anyone in there. On my front three, I've gone with Tell down the middle. I think it's too early to judge him. I've liked what I've seen. Of course, there's still room for improvement, but 19 years of age, showing good signs. Certainly, fights for the badge. Mikey Moore on the left, replacing Son. Son hasn't been good enough to be in the team recently, and he's struggling, I think, a little bit for fitness. So for his sake, for the team's sake, I'll take him out for now. And Brendan Johnson on the right. So you may have noticed that's a strong team, but it gives the likes of Porro, Kulusevski in particular, but also Son a rest. And Son, we've got to accept the fact that he's not just fitness, it's also he hasn't been good enough. So that would be my front three, Johnson and Moore coming in. So I think there'll be a couple of changes from what we actually see. I think hopefully Andrew will finally play Gray midfield, but I don't think... I think Porro will play, and there's a possibility Kulu doesn't start. Maybe Ange sees that, but I can't see Ange starting Mikey Moore. I can see him starting Johnson, but not more. So a couple of changes, I reckon, from that side. Score prediction, I've been to and fro, I'm really thinking about my score prediction this week because Ipswich need the points. I think they make it so hard for us. So I was like, I don't think we're going to lose this after a couple of good wins and performances, but can Ipswich get a draw up in between, like kind of 1-1 and 2-1 Spurs, but I'm going to back our team. I'd love to do that. 2-1 Spurs and more behind Ange and the boys than ever as we get players back. So get your score prediction and thoughts on anything discussed in today's video in the comments below. But make sure you follow Chris Cowland across all socials, subscribe to his channel and check out the Spurs Chat podcast. Always a pleasure to speak to you. If you're interested in what I do myself, I'm a 16-year-old football content creator and YouTuber, proud to say a regular here. Chris Callan's channel, Spurs Chat Podcast. Be on more once I've done my GCSEs this year. You can follow me though at HarryScarfe22 on the likes of Instagram, TikTok, X, creating daily football and Tottenham mainly content, and England as well when covering Spurs. When we cover everything, and that's where you can find as well all my Spurs content at the Scarfe Spurs Talk YouTube channel and podcast, which is my own as well. Also regular, I think Spurs Kings TV. I'm a politics news reporter, so a lot going on, but my main work is there with my own socials and also here for Chris Cowland. So thank you very much. Let's hope for a win, a massive come, you Spurs. Reminder, the game isn't on TV. It's the 3 p.m. Saturday.